Unit 4 Real World Interfacing with ARM7 based microcontroller. So next point is I2C SPI protocol. Now the I2C means inter IC. I2C means inter IC. This bus is bidirectional two-wire serial bus which provide a communication link between integrated circuit. So I2C is a synchronous protocol which allows a master device to initiate communication with slave device. Data is exchanged between these devices. So I2C is two-wire synchronous serial communication protocol. The SDA line is used for transferring data and SCK is used for transferring clock information. Every device connected to I2C bus has a unique address. The I2C communication protocol involves communication between a slave and master. The device which initiates the communication and which provides the clock is referred to as a master device. The device which receive the clock signal and receive and transmit the data according to the clock signal is termed as a slave device. Each device on a bus is accessed using its slave address. So EEPROM, that is electrically erasable programmable read only memory. It is user modifiable read only memory, that is ROM, that can be erased and reprogrammed repeatedly through the application of higher than a normal electrical voltage. It is a type of non-volatile memory which is used in computer and other electronic device to store small amount of data that must be saved when power is removed. For example, calibration tables or device configuration. So this diagram shows I2C bus configuration which has pull-up resistor, now there are some features of this. That so first feature is standard I2C compliant bus interfaces that may be configured as master slave or master slave. The arbitration between simultaneously transmitting masters without corruption of serial data on the bus. The programmable clock to allow adjustment of I2C transfer rate. Bidirectional data transfer between master and slave. Serial clock synchronization which allows device with different bit rate to communicate via one serial bus. The serial clock synchronization can be used as a handshake mechanism to suspend and resume serial transfer, and the I2C bus may be used for test and diagnostic purpose. So interface to external I2C standard parts such as serial RAM, LCD tone generator, etc. So typical I2C bus configuration is shown in this diagram. Depending on the state of the direction bit, the two types of data transfer are possible on I2C bus. The data transfer from a master transmitter to slave receiver. The first byte transmitted by the master is slave address. Next follows a number of data bytes. The slave return an acknowledged bit after each received byte. Data transfer from a slave transmitter to master receiver. The first byte is transmitted by the master. The slave then return an acknowledged bit. Next follows the data byte transmitted by the slave to the master. The master returns an acknowledged bit after all received byte other than the last byte. At the end of the last received byte, a not acknowledged is returned. And the master device generates all of the serial clock pulses and start and stop conditions. A transfer is ended with a stop condition or with a repeated start condition. Since repeated start condition is also the beginning of the next serial stop condition or with a repeated start condition, transfer the I2 bus will not be released. The LPC 2148 or any other version, the I2C interfaces are byte oriented and have four operating modes: master transmitter mode, master receiver mode, slave transmitter mode, and slave receiver mode. The I2C interfaces compile with entire I2C specification supporting the ability to turn off to LPC 2148 without causing a problem with other device on I2C. So this is sometimes a useful capability but intrinsically limits alternate uses the same pin. If I2C interface is not used, then seldom is the capability needed on multiple I2C interfaces within the same microcontroller. So in given application, the I2C block may operate as a master, a slave, or both. In slave mode, I2C hardware looks for its own slave address and general call address. If one of these addresses is detected, an interrupt is requested. If the processor wishes to become the bus master, the hardware wait until the bus is free before the master mode is entered so that a possible slave operation is not interrupted. If bus arbitration is lost in the master mode, the I2C block switches to the slave mode immediately and it can detect its own slave address in the same serial transfer. So the master transmitter mode. In this mode, data is transmitted from the master to slave. Before master transmitter mode can be entered, the I2C on set register must be initialized. So this I2EN, it must be set to 1 to enable I2C function. If A bit is 0, I2C interface will not acknowledge any address when another device is master of the bus. So it can enter a slave mode. The STSD 0 and SI bits must be 0. The SI bit is cleared by writing 1 to SIC bit. The first byte transmitted contains the slave address of the receiving device, say that is 7 bit, the data direction bit. So in this mode, the data direction bit, that is read or write, should be 0, which means write. The first byte transmitted contains the slave address, and the write bit data is transmitted 8 bits at a time. After each byte is transmitted, an acknowledged bit is received. The start and stop conditions are output to indicate the beginning and the end of serial transfer. So the I2C interface will enter a master transmitter mode when software sets the STA bit. The I2C logic will send the start condition as soon as the bus is free. After the start condition is transmitted, the SI bit is set and the status code in the I2 stat register is 0x08. So this status code is used to vector to state a service routine which will load a slave address and write bit to the I2DAT register and clear bit SI and clear the SI bit. So SI bit is cleared by writing 1 to the SIC bit. When the slave address and read write bit have been transmitted and an acknowledgement bit has been received, the SI bit is set again and possible status codes 0x182038 for master and 0x6878B0 if the slave mode was enabled. So this is all about the master transmitter mode. Next, master receiver mode. In master receiver mode, the data is received from the slave transmitter. The transfer is initiated in the same way as in the master transmitter mode. The start condition has been transmitted. The interrupt service routine must load the slave address and the data direction bit to the I2C data register and then clear SI bit. In this case, the data direction bit read or write, it should be 1 to indicate a read. So when slave address and data direction bit have been transmitted and an acknowledge bit has been received, the SI bit is set and status register will show the status code. Next is slave receiver mode. In the slave receiver mode, the data byte are received from the master transmitter. To initialize this, the user write the slave address register and write I2C control register. So I2C control set and I2C1 control set, which are used to configure the slave mode. I2C enable must be set to 1 to enable I2C function. A bit set to 1 to acknowledge its own slave address or the general call address. STSD0 and SI bits are set to 0 after I2 ADR and I2 I2C control set register are initialized. The I2C interface wait until it is addressed by its own address or the general address followed by the data direction bit. If the direction bit is 0, then it enter the slave receiver mode. If this bit is 1, then it enter the transmitter mode. So after the address and the direction bit have been received, the SI bit is set and a valid status code can be read from the status register. And the last mode is slave transmitter mode. The first byte is received and handled as in the slave receiver mode. However, in this mode, the direction bit will be 1, indicating a read operation. The serial data is transmitted via STA while the serial clock is input through SCL. Start and stop conditions are recognized as the beginning and the end of serial transfer. In a given application, I2C may operate as a master and as a slave. In the slave mode, the I2C operate hardware looks for its own slave address and general call address. If one of these addresses is detected, an interrupt is requested. When the microcontroller wishes to become the bus master, the hardware wait until the bus is free before the master mode is entered so that a possible slave action is not interrupted. If bus arbitration is lost in master's mode, the I2C interface switches to the slave mode immediately and it can detect its own slave address in same serial transfer. So I2C implementation and operation. The input filters and output stages. The input signals are synchronized with the internal clock and spikes shorter than the 3 clocks are filtered out. The output of I2C is special pad designed to confirm the I2 to conform to I2C specification. Address register may be loaded with 7 bit slave address, 7 most significant bit, to which I2C block will respond when programmed as a slave transmitter or receiver. The LSB is used to enable the general call address recognition. The comparator compares the received 7-bit slave address with its own slave address. It also compares first received 8-byte with general call address. If equality is found, the appropriate status bits are set and an interrupt is requested. Then shift register. This 8-bit register contains a byte of serial data to be transmitted or a byte which had just been received. The data in I2D80 is always shifted from right to left. The first bit to be transmitted is MSB, that is bit 7. After a byte has been received, the first bit of received data is located at the MSB of I2D80. While data is being shifted out, the data on the bus is simultaneously being shifted in, always contain the last byte present on the bus. Thus, in the event of lost arbitration, the transition from master transmitter to slave receiver is made with the correct data in I2D80. So in master transmitter mode, the arbitration logic check that every transmitted logic 1 actually appears as logic 1 on I2C bus. If another device on the bus overrules a logic 1 and pulls the SDA line low, the arbitration is lost and I2C block immediately changes from master transmitter to slave receiver. The I2C block will continue to output the clock pulses until transmission of current serial byte is complete. Arbitration may also be lost in the master receiver mode. Loss of arbitration in this mode can only occur while the I2C block is returning a not acknowledged to the bus. The arbitration is lost when another device on the bus pulls this signal low. So the serial clock generator, this programmable clock pulse generator provide the SCL clock pulses when I2C block is in master transmitter or master receiver mode. It is switched off when the I2C block is in slave mode. The I2C block clock frequency and duty cycle is programmable via I2C clock control register, the timing and control logic generator, the timing and control signal for serial byte handling. This logic block provides the shift pulses for I2DAT, and it enable the comparator, generator and detect the start and stop condition. Also it receive and transmit the acknowledge bit, control the master and slave mode, and contain interrupt request logic. So for start condition there are 5 steps are given. First, the MCU will issue a start condition. The device connected to the bus will listen to the start and will stay ready to begin. Then SCL means high and SDA is transition from high to low. Then it will send the address of the device with which it need to communicate. The master indicates the action to be performed with the device, whether to read or write. Then all devices connected to the bus will receive the address and will compare it with its own address. Once the MCU sends the address and corresponding device acknowledge, it will start transmitting or receiving the data. And last is when the data transmission reception is or the reception is complete, then it will stop communicating by sending stop condition. Similarly, there are steps for the next is step 6 is the stop condition indicate that the bus is released and it can be used by other master connected to the I2C bus. After master generate a start condition, the I2C bus will solely belongs to it and it will free only if the master generate a stop condition. Any other master connected to the bus can access the bus after a stop is identified on the bus.